Hello, everyone, and welcome to Steve Rosenfield's stand-up comedy workshop show. I just heard my heat kick on, so we're in for a good night. Excuse the noise, but I am toasty warm now, so thank goodness. What you're going to see tonight is a company of stand-up comedians who have trained in a workshop conducted by the award-winning comedy director, the founder of the American Comedy Institute, and the author of the book Mastering Stand-Up, Steve Rosenfield. Now, some of our alumni have gone on to perform on The Late Show, The Tonight Show, Conan O'Brien, Saturday Night Live, Gotham Comedy Live, and Comedy Central, and they perform in the best clubs all over the United States and all over the world. And we're very excited to be in our new favorite club, wherever you're watching this right now. Yes, you now own a comedy club for tonight. Congratulations. And you have a killer lineup of comics, including some making their stand-up comedy debuts for you tonight. So you're in for a good show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And my name's Michaela. I'm going to be your host tonight. Super excited to be here. I am in New York City. Although the cold recently has made me yearn for the earlier days of the pandemic that I spent in Florida. Just a beautiful, hot, humid, and horrifying place. But I had a good time. I wasn't alone. I was with my favorite apocalypse partners, my parents. Ladies and gentlemen, they have been married for 27 beautiful years. They have seen all 8 seasons of Dexter thrice. And they still do not believe in global warming, though they do believe in masks and the vaccine. It's Mike and Tina Fagan, the best people. I love them. I love them dearly. We had a good time, but they live in a 55 and over community. So for 6 months, I too lived in a 55 and over community, and I couldn't sleep at night because I knew I was the only fertile woman in at least a mile. And just if this became a situation where we had to repopulate the earth, there was going to be a line of old men knocking down my door. So I had to establish the parameters of the competition, which would ensue. You need an active driver's license to enter. Then it would be a jitterbug tournament to just determine their style, their flair, and endurance. And finally, bocce ball to the death. I would procreate with the lone victor. And we all know bocce, I think, is the ultimate tell of a good lover. I think we should all worry about how good people are at bocce ball. The winner would get a socially distanced early bird special at Boston Market with me. That was the prize. And no one won. It didn't have to happen. Thank goodness it didn't have to happen. And I came back up to New York City. And I do love it here very much. I treat this city's grid system like it is a game of Battleship. And I keep sticking pins in different intersections, and I'm going to keep doing it until I hit Fran Lebowitz. I just want to meet her so bad. That's how I treat every day in New York City. And one day, I'm going to find her. I know it. And I'll just say hi. It'll be a great day. I love living in New York. It's awesome. I moved to a new apartment this year, but it is not the dream apartment. Not quite yet, because it's not above, next to, or within a bakery. That's what I'm looking for next year. I would love that. I'm just wondering who lives there. I know I'd become friends with all the people who work downstairs. They'd probably see me after a long day, walk by, going up the stairs, and they'd stop me and say, "Hey, Michaela, you're looking a little down. Uh, we got a tray of Svoyadel, may or may not have fallen on the floor. We cannot sell them, but if you'll eat them, these are for you." That would be the greatest apartment ever. I would have no complaints of noise. I don't think they'd throw any parties, maybe just some commotion early in the morning, like, "Hey, Paulie, we got so many utensils covered in custards and meringues and icings. How are we going to get these clean before we open?" I know, why don't you send them upstairs? There'd be like a pulley system with a basket, and I would lick, lick, lick. I'd get them clean. It'd be pretty much the greatest experience. I feel comfortable all with you now. I have to tell you a secret that back in college, I was a lesbian for a while, and I still am, because I'm not a quitter. It's a tough life, but I'm going to keep going. I am not alone in my family, though. I have a wonderful gay aunt who has given me so much wonderful advice. I do believe her and her wife are the cornerstone of the New Jersey lesbian community. They have quite the crew, and there are at least 4 Debbies. I don't know why, but there are at least 4. And they give great advice. It's just a little outdated. They came out in a different time. So I'll ask them, how do I let this girl know that I'm interested in her? And they'll be like, oh, okay, here you go. Step number 1, McKay. You want to marry a man and wait 10 to 12 years. Wait it out. Wait a decade. I'm like, no, you don't. I don't think you understand. They said, no, you're going to play the long game. Okay, at your weekly all girls poker game, going up to your friend Debbie, give her a kiss on the side of the cheek, wait 10 to 12 more years. Okay, it never happened. Deny, deny, deny. I'm like, okay, got it. Step number 3. Great. At your goddaughter's communion, Debbie will be there. She is like family. Go on up to her, kiss her full on the mouth. Now tell her you die for her and live happily ever after. In secrecy, tell no one. Don't ever tell anyone. I'm like, okay, it doesn't help, but I love you guys. Thank you anyway. Thank you all so much. I'm super excited to bring your first comic to the screen all the way from New York City. Give it up for the very funny Kathy Neville Brown.
So I have lost 25 pounds and I feel great. I mean, thank God for those weight loss milestones. You know, like when you finally fit into your skinny jeans. And I will never forget the morning when I got on the scale, looked down, and I could see my pussy. I hadn't seen it in years. No one else had either. So I decided to go on one of those dating websites. And I texted my girlfriend. I used one of those voice to text apps to tell her about it. And she wrote back, she said, well, it's about time, but what is snatch.com? Is that a lesbian website? Well, I'm sure I'm not alone, but when I scroll through pictures of guys on match.com, sometimes I fantasize. There was this one guy, a picture of this one guy in a bathtub. Gorgeous. I could not stop looking at it. And the whole time I was like, oh my God, is that pink Italian marble? Well, I've seen a lot of profiles, and this one is for the boys. There are a few pictures you guys should really just never post on Match. For example, if you like to build things, say craftsman in your profile. Don't post a picture of yourself holding an axe with a caption, love long walks in the woods at night. And here is the biggest no-no. Do not post a picture of yourself standing next to your very attractive 30-year-old son, because then I want to fuck him, not you. I got to tell you, since I started dating, I kind of feel like Goldilocks from the fairy tale, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Remember, she kind of went into their house and just started trying out all their stuff. Well, instead of trying out chairs and beds, I'm trying out dicks. This one is too soft. This one is too small. This one is just right. Although, unlike Goldilocks, I have never said, this one is too hard. So you can imagine I need a lot of caffeine to keep up with this dating and experimenting. So I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and the sexy muscled guy behind the counter said, what would you like, dear? I was so flattered that he called me dear, instead of ma'am, like I was his grandmother or something. So I told him, what I'd like is for you to slap me on the ass and call me your bitch. He said, that's what you want? I said, yeah, that and a small hot latte, whole milk. So then I went to hand him a discount coupon, and he said, oh, you don't need that. I already gave you the senior discount. I was like, I am not 65. And he said, oh, I know that. It's 55 here. I realized that even at my age, I have to be careful about having safe sex. Once I was in this guy's car and we were making out, and I really wanted to straddle him. So I did. He had to call the ambulance because I threw my back out when I slammed it into the steering wheel. This aging thing is no picnic. Yesterday, I looked in the mirror and I noticed that the right side of my mouth is lower than the left. I mean, how does that happen? And then it hit me. Too many blowjobs. I guess all those guys were just hanging to the left. I mean, I cannot afford any more damage to this face. So blowjobs are officially off the menu. I mean, it seems like ageism is everywhere, even in acronyms. You know, acronyms, LOL, BFF, and my personal favorite, WTF. Well, I used to be a MILF, mother I'd like to fuck, but apparently I have aged out of that category, and now I am HFFA, hot from far away. But I'll take it. I'd rather be HFFA than TOTS, too old to screw. So it took a few months, but I finally found a terrific boyfriend. And yesterday in bed, he gave me the nicest compliment. He said that I have the pussy of a 17-year-old. Wait, how does he know what a 17-year-old pussy is like? He's 60. Oh my God, that bastard's cheating on me. Maybe I will try snatch.com. Thanks so much. You guys have been terrific. Good night.
Kathy Neville Brown. Kathy, no, you're HOZ. You're hot on Zoom too, okay? You caught it all. That was great, Kathy. Thank you. Your next comic, I'm so excited to bring him to the screen. We haven't seen him in a while, and we love him. You're going to love him too. All the way from Brunswick, Maine, give it up for Cece Lad.
Hey, thank you, Michaela. I am Cece, and I'm an alcoholic. I don't expect that many of you are going to be applauding that admission, unless, of course, my mother-in-law's tuning in. Hi, passive-aggressive nag. The rest of you, though, I understand you came here to have a laugh, but I promised my sponsor I'd be making a meeting tonight. So you're all welcome and invited and now attending the first ever How the Hell Did This Happen to Me online group of Alcoholics Anonymous. If that offends any of you, well, then maybe you actually should go to a real meeting. And I can take you. I go to tons of meetings all the time, you know. Before I was married and had 5 daughters, I was actually in drug rehab. I wish I was still in drug rehab. But they kicked me out, put me out in the world, told me I needed to find, a support group, 12 steps, 12-step program. So that's what I did. Yeah, I went in and I went to my first meeting and I sat down and I got, I got accepted with all handshakes and hugs, and they told me I was in the right place, and they gave me a chip to mark my first day in sobriety. And they told me, keep coming back. So I did. Went, and at 1 month, they gave me another chip and said I was doing all the right things and they loved seeing me, and that, I was becoming an important person in their lives, and to keep coming back. So I did. Month after month, I did this, and they kept giving me more chips and keep telling me how wonderful I was, and until a year, and I got an anniversary. And then they gave me this big gold medallion, and they baked me a cake, and they let me talk about myself for a whole hour. And then after that, they all took turns telling me how grateful they were for me, how inspirational I was. Nothing like I get at home. And, and they told me, if you keep coming back, we'll give you your next chip in another year. Fuck that. I've been relapsing in recovery for over 20 years in like 17 different programs. I got 15,000 chips. My recovery itself, I think it's done some good. I'd like to think it's made me a beacon of positivity and hope to my 5 teenage daughters. My youngest came to me a few weeks ago, and she said, Dad, I'm drinking, and I've started doing drugs. I've started smoking marijuana. Now the kids have this dabbing thing, which is like the crack of Mary Jane, and her whole life is on the brink of destruction. She's depressed, she's anxiety, she's lost all her friends. She admitted she gets up some morning, she doesn't even know if she, wants to go on. And so she said, Dad, can I come to your meetings with you? And I said, well, yeah, honey, of course you can. I love you. Which got me thinking, can I have anything to myself? I don't want to give you the wrong impression. My life is not all doom and gloom. I love what I do for work. I'm a funeral director. You know what I love most about my job? The silence. I understand it's difficult to find the right thing to say at a funeral, so let me suggest you stay away from things like, she's never looked so good. Are you gonna keep the lake house? Your father was the most generous lover I ever had. My wife, she would like me to, be more mindful with what I say around the children. In fact, she doesn't want me to talk to them at all. She says it's all because when our oldest was in second grade, she came home crying because she'd been sent to the principal's office for saying crap. And I saw that as a perfectly good teaching moment. So I brought her in. I sat her on my lap. I said, honey, you can't call people crap. You can't say that they look like crap. You can't say that they smell like crap. And you can't go around telling people to eat crap. Okay? Daddy, I didn't say that at all. Well, honey, you must have said something. I just got a question wrong on my quiz. And I said, oh, crap. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry, honey. If you can't say crap for that, you are so totally fucked. I don't have a lot of dreams left. I really appreciate you all being part of this one. Good night.
Cece Lad, that was great. And with all that talk of chips, I feel like there's only one thing to do. Take them to a casino. Go all in. There you go.
Go all in.
I don't know what they're worth, but I think you got to bring them to Atlantic City. So that was awesome. Thanks for being a part of the show. Your next comic coming to the screen, I love. She's a dear friend all the way from Washington, D.C. Please put your virtual hands together for the very funny Yelina Kulik.
In Russian, there is no word for fun. The closest word is joy. And that's a problem for the Russian woman. Because on the first date, if the guy asks you, what do you want to do tonight? You can't just say, oh, let's have fun. You have to say, let's have joy. And the problem begins. I have recently read that now then more and more places requiring to prove that you've been fully vaccinated, you can actually purchase a fake vaccine card. I'm Russian and that doesn't impress me. In Russia, you can buy a fake doctor's license and practice medicine. Now that's corruption. My friend is still saying that she may not gonna get a vaccine because she doesn't know what's in it. And I said, of course you don't know what's in it. You once asked me what's an orange juice. And she said, well, I'm still worried. It may cause us infertility. And I said, oh my God, finally, the birth control that works. My sister got all excited about this new book that she recently read that says that numbers have spiritual power. And if you know how to use them, you can achieve your heart desires. And I said, I already know that. The numbers that I work with is 2350 6785 3021 5577. Expiration date 0325. In Russia, you have to be very careful what you said, even at home, because if your neighbors overheard you saying something bad about the government, they can report you to the authorities. That made me wonder of my parents' choice of word then they were fighting. They would never say like, you bitch or you bastard. Instead, they would say, you traitor, you capitalist stooge. Were they just fighting or trying to send each other to gulag? Russian men have a reputation of being very romantic, which is true. Because if all you have to offer to the woman is to get married, move in with his parents, and become an alcoholic, you better be a romantic. I can never get over how many things you can buy here in America. I can see why you need influencers. You know, people like Kim Kardashian, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, people you could really trust. Then they tell you to do something. The influencers we had in Russia was Stalin. My aunt in Russia, when she was in her 80s, taught me that diet is very important. She was very strict about it. Every morning she had oatmeal with no milk and no sugar. And in the evening, when her husband came home from work, it was strictly vodka and sex. She's 97 now and still doing it. People challenge themselves in America, CrossFit, triathlon challenges, mud running to feel alive. Well, many people in Russia also challenge themselves like this. We have Trans-Siberian escape from the labor camp. You know, running in bare feet in sub-zero temperatures while chased by guards with dogs and machine guns. That's really burns off your calories. I'm interested in this new popular trends in America right now, like cryotherapy, where you have to expose yourself to sub-zero temperatures. There's also intermittent fasting, where you have to starve yourself every day. And then there is minimalism. Then you can only have a few things at home and you can't own anything. And they call this living more happier and meaningful life. Well, we have it in Russia also. We call it Siberia. My friends here in America often ask me, how come you're always cold? You have a Russian blood. What did you do in Russia in the winter? And I told them that I was doing exactly what I did in spring, summer, and fall. I suffer. My husband told me that I ask for the presents that they're just too expensive. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to stop to ask you for a swimming pool. He said, thank you. That's so much better. And I said, can I still get a pool boy? Thank you so much. I love you.
Send an email to info@comedyinstitute.com and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I'm very excited about our next performer. You know her? You love her. If you don't know her, you're gonna love her. She's an actor and a writer and teaches piano to adult learners from the San Francisco Bay Area. This is Jane Stone.
Hello there. Welcome. Come on in. You know, a friend who knows that I'm pre-diabetic sent me a recipe for a honey cake that calls for a little bit of flour, 2 cups of honey, and 2 pounds of sugar. I mean, what was she thinking? That I'd garnish it with 2 syringes and a side of insulin? I've been shopping online so much that sometimes I don't remember what I ordered. So this morning, when a package arrived from Macy's containing something, it sort of looked like 2 white rounded hills connected by a footbridge. I'm thinking, wow, a festive winter centerpiece for the table. Then I realize it's a bra. Long time no see. Well, one thing I miss about in-person shopping is being able to try things on before I buy them. I bought a pair of tights online, and according to the size chart, it was the perfect size for me. So when the tights arrive, I unfurl them. They're 20 inches long. These are perfect for an elf, a stunted elf. Well, I've noticed that some little things are becoming a struggle. For instance, clipping my toenails. They just keep getting farther and farther away, but I can do it still, now that I'm using binoculars and hedge clippers. Another thing that's a small thing but difficult is getting out of bed because I don't want to. I am lately so sedentary that when I'm sitting in a Zoom meeting and I raise my hand to ask a question, my exercise app thinks I'm on the elliptical machine. And when I put my phone down, my Apple Watch says, "Congratulations, you've achieved your daily move goal." I was happy to discover that my neighborhood restaurant survived the pandemic. They made some exciting changes, like doubling the prices and changing the name from the Blue Pigeon to Le Squab Bleu. And they also upgraded the decor to add another tripping hazard. It's a plastic flamingo spray painted blue. Even the maitre d', Jose, renamed himself Maurice. You know, it's still a Chinese restaurant, but now with a hint of Neville, California. So their new Peking duck is a Peking tofurkey. And the dim sum are stuffed with organic compost. And now the seafood is responsibly farmed. That is a relief, because back in the old days, right before I'd plunge into my shrimp fried rice, I would always think, these things look abused. You might think that bleu is French for blue. In the case of Le Squab Bleu, it means blech. you know, for their al fresco dining. They installed such powerful heat lamps that I and the sesame chicken get sauteed at the table. At the old days, Jose used to gallantly show me to the special table for one, wedged between the men's room and the kitchen door. But now that I'm eating outdoors, Maurice, greets me with a jaunty bonjour and seats me between the curb and the fire hydrant. And I don't think that the restaurant got authorization to put a table there. I mean, I've been seated there twice, and both times I got a parking ticket. Well, you can park yourself here anytime, and you're very sweet to come by. Take good care of each other, sweethearts.
Jane Stone, Jane, I don't want to leave. It's nice in your house and it's warm, right? In California. Oh, that's great. Well, merci beaucoup, Jane. That was great. We have a few more comics on the lineup tonight, and they are incredible. I'm very excited about your next comedian because I love her, and you are also going to love her all the way from the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. This is Holly Van Stratton.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to be here, but I'm a little tiny bit nervous because my new boyfriend's watching. Yeah. So if you think that that could be you, please call me after the show. So recently I went to get my eyebrows trimmed at a new place, and I walked in and I introduced myself and I said, "Hello, my name is Holly." And the girl said, "Hi, my name is Ivy." And I said, "Really? Or are you just trying to one-up me on my Bush name game?" And she said, "No, really. One moment, please. I'll ask my manager." "Rosemary." So I was at a bar recently, and a guy runs up to me and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you look just like Sarah Palin." He said, "I should know. I watch a lot of Pornhub. Who's nailing Palin?" And I said, "Well, you buy me 2 drinks and you could be Hammer and Holly." So recently I moved from New York City to Texas. Big move, but something amazing happened. I was astonished. I rented an entire house, and at the end of the month, I still have enough money to eat. So when I first moved to Texas, I moved in with my friend Mary, and her daughter was engaged to be married. And one day, the daughter runs into the living room with this knife, and she had just found out her fiance was cheating, and she was going to go confront him. Well, Mary, the mother, grabs the knife away and said, "You can't take that. You can't leave the house with that." And she goes over and she sharpens it and she hands it back, and she said, "Go make your mama proud." And then a couple minutes later, she thought twice and said, "Come back here. Give me that knife. You have just got your master's degree. Give that knife to your sister. She only has her GED." So when I moved here to Texas last year, it was a crazy winter storm coming from New York. It was nothing, but Texas, it was closed down, snow everywhere. So I rented this house, and I walk out the front yard, snow everywhere. And the neighbor next door says to me, "Hey, how are your pipes?" And I said, "None of your fucking business." And I went back inside. A little bit different here in Texas. Needless to say, I haven't asked them to borrow any sugar. So my parents, they actually got married when they were 17 and had me 5 months later. When I was smart enough to do the math, I told my friends that I met, my name is not Holly Lynn Van Stratton, it's Holly Backseat Van Stratton. And my mom overheard me, and she said, "If I hear you tell that story one more time, I'm going to tell you what really happened in the back of that Dodge Ram van, and a miracle minute that it took." So my parents are still madly in love and married to each other. Yeah, they make it easy for me to remember how old I am, because I'll be 53 soon, and they just celebrated 53 years. My brother, he's married to his high school sweetheart, and they've been married 25 years and given my parents 2 beautiful grandchildren. Really, I'm not jealous, but who gives a fuck? Because I'll always be mom and dad's first fuck trophy. So I've always been attracted to men in uniform. And Tinder agrees, because my algorithm always sets me up with the ones in the orange and black uniforms with the numbers on the back. Yeah, crazy. Actually, speaking of uniforms, I want to be a cop, but I failed the eye exam because I have this crooked eye right here. Yeah, one day I was at a bar and I asked a guy to dance, and he looked over his right shoulder at the guy behind him where my eye was looking. And I grabbed his hand and I said, "No, I'm talking to you." So we danced. We got married 4 months later. That was a fucking disaster. But I learned one thing: always trust my crooked eye. So I've always had a constant in my life, and it's this blind spot right here. I've always walked into walls, door frames, other people's marriages. My eyes, like, one's dominant and bosses the other one around like a dom and a sub. Yeah, but they do work when I see something I like a chili cheese burrito from Taco Bell, or a 30% coupon at Macy's, or a fireman. Speaking of firemen, I'm dating a fireman. And yeah, we're in our 50s, and I like to, foreplay, role play. So in bed the other day, he said politely, "We don't have to role play every single night, honey, because we have a good sex life. So could you please quit saying, 'Please slide down my pole and into your hole'?" And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "Well, while we're talking about this, can you please stop saying, 'Roll out my hose and put out your bushfire'?" And I said, "Okay, but can I still say, 'Park that big red truck because I want to fuck'?" He said no. Yeah, so this going back to my crooked eye, I was bullied in school, but it's okay because I didn't see it coming. My dad has a really good work ethic, and I think I actually got the work ethic from him. I have 25 years perfect attendance, and I thank my father. My grandma, just before she died, actually told us all that my dad tried to run her over on the sidewalk in his truck. And I'm like, Granny, I don't believe you, because I think that's a fucking lie, because Dad would never go without a job unfinished. Yeah. So I haven't seen my family for 2 years. They live in Canada, and FaceTime only. But my dad might have had something to do with closing the border, that I can't get back and forth to visit. Yeah, because I think he's nervous that maybe I would move home again, being a 52-year-old. All right, so I was walking down the street the other day, and this young, hot guy calls me a MILF, mother I like to fuck. So I kind of went towards him and I said, "How dare you? You don't know me. I don't have kids." But then I walked up closer to him and I whispered in his ear and I said, "If you and I were to have sex, you'd be the closest thing for me to having a baby inside of me." Thank you so much. I love you all. Have a great night. Thanks for joining.
Holly Van Stratton. Holly, I feel like the issue with the role playing is you've just made him be the occupation that he already is. That takes all the fun out of it. Maybe he wants to be a teacher, Try that. I think he should just give him a different job, But it's good. Oh, she put up her number again. We'll put it in the chat. Your final comic tonight is performing all the way from Brooklyn, New York. You are going to love her. She's a lot of fun. So please give it up for the very funny Ina Zazulia.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Ina Zazulia. And Zazulia in English means a cuckoo bird. But for some people, for many people, for some reason, it means that I am cuckoo. Cuckoo. Just recently, I gave a speech on huge conference on the topic of mental health issues in NYC. And right after I began my speech, I saw that people began laughing at me, like something wrong with me. And you know what? You know what? I didn't allow them to put me down. I just stopped my speech. I put my pants on and left this building. Or wait, did I put my pants before or after I left the building? Okay, it's not important. Another situation. When I was in college, our professor decided to divide a board in two categories. One category, what he believes is normal, and other, what he believes is abnormal. And you know what he did? You know what he did, guys? You wouldn't believe it. He put he put me down as a normal. I am normal, guys. I know, I was shocked too. And I see you believe that you are certainly normal. Okay, but let's consider this. You had today a hard day of work, and now you are voluntarily listening to a woman with a heavy Russian accent which is impossible to understand. And also, who claims that she is a cuckoo bird. And you still, it is normal. You are not cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. And you know, actually, what means this sound? When you're in forest, you could hear beautiful, warm sound like ooh, 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 ooh. And of course, you might think that cuckoo birds doing this beautiful sound because they greeting a new day, or because they welcoming the sunshine, or even celebrating life at this beautiful planet. No, it's wrong. It is our maiden song. And what it means that I want to fuck. Yes, guys. And you know, if you already bought a cuckoo clock, or you plan to buy the one, you have to think what you hear every hour and every day. It is like this. Hello, guys. Now it's time to fuck. Fuck me, fuck you, fuck me, fuck you, fuck me, fuck you, guys. Please do not put those clocks to children's room. Okay? And now, to help you remember what you just learned about cuckoo, I'm gonna sing a song about cuckoo. First in Russian, and then please join me in English. Если весело живется, делай так, ку-ку, sing. Если весело живется, делай так, ку-ку. Если весело живется, мы друг другу улыбнемся. Если весело живется, делай так, ку-ку. And now, let's see what we learned in English. If you're happy and you know it, say fuck you, fuck you. If you're happy and you know it, say fuck me, fuck me. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, so let's fuck. If you sad and yes you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you said, that means, of course, you need a fuck. Thank you, guys. And please enjoy your every day and every hour. And thank you being with the Cuckoo Bird.
Ina Zazulia! Ina, that was great. And that was our show. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight and watching. Thanks to all the comics who performed. And have a wonderful rest of your weekend, everyone. Don't forget to learn more about our workshops by going to info@comedyinstitute.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram at ACI Comedy and Twitter at ACI_comedy. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, and